The first thing everyone remembered about Emeka and Chioma's marriage was how bright it began. They had nothing, but they had joy, the kind that made neighbors believe love alone could feed a family. The small one-room house they rented at the edge of town was always full of laughter. They cooked together, sang old church songs, and prayed over dreams that seemed certain to bloom. If you are enjoying this story, like and subscribe so the power of Jesus will be acknowledged. Emeka worked at a printing shop in the city. Chioma sold fruit at the junction. They met each night under the same weak bulb that hummed above their doorway. It wasn't wealth, but it was peace. A peace built on faith, laughter, and the soft rhythm of two hearts walking in step. Then one afternoon, Emeka came home early. His shoulders sagged as he stood at the door. "They closed the shop," he said quietly. "No notice, just closed." Chioma froze, her hands still wet from washing. "Closed? What do you mean closed?" "I mean gone. Everyone let go." She wiped her hands and walked closer, searching his face for something steady, a trace of the man who used to joke that even bad luck avoided them. But all she saw was fear. "It's fine," she said quickly, forcing a smile. "God will make a way." He nodded, but his eyes didn't agree. Days passed, weeks. The money they'd saved trickled away like water through fingers. The laughter in the small house faded. Arguments began to live where songs once did. "You can't sit here all day," Chioma said one morning, trying to hide her frustration. Emeka rubbed his face. "I've gone everywhere. Nobody's hiring. You think I don't want to work?" She sighed. "I didn't say that. I just—" "What?" he snapped, standing up so fast the stool toggled. "You think I'm useless now?" Silence swallowed the room. That night, Chioma cried quietly while their little boy, Chidera, slept. She pressed her palm over her mouth to hide the sound. Emeka lay beside her, eyes open, pretending to sleep. He wanted to hold her, to whisper that it would be all right, but pride sat between them like a wall. Months crawled by. The once proud man became restless, his temper sharp, his faith thinner by the day. He spent hours wandering, coming home late with a smell of sweat and dust and silence. Chioma tried to keep hope alive, but each prayer felt heavier. She began to envy the neighbors who laughed easily, who still bought meat without counting coins twice. One evening, she found him sitting alone outside, staring into the distance. "Emeka," she said softly, "talk to me." He didn't turn. "I don't know what to say anymore." She sat beside him. "We'll get through this." He laughed, but it was bitter. "You still believe that?" "Yes. I wish I did." It was the first time he had said something she didn't know how to answer. As the months bled into a full year, their small home became a battlefield. Every word felt like a weapon, every silence a wound. When the landlord came with a warning notice, Emeka didn't speak for 3 days. When their only radio broke, Chioma wept as though she'd lost a friend. When Chidera asked why they never smiled anymore, neither parent could answer. Then came the night of rain. It started softly, a drizzle that tapped gently against the window. Chioma sat by the stove, boiling water for nothing in particular. Emeka paced the floor, muttering about debts. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. He stopped. "What did you say?" "I said, I can't live like this, Emeka. You're angry all the time. We don't talk, we don't pray, we don't even eat together." He exhaled hard, pressing his palms to his face. "What do you want me to do?" "Try," she shouted. "Just try to be the man you were." "I lost that man when I lost my job," his voice cracked. "You think I like what I've become? You think I don't see it?" The rain outside grew heavier. Chioma turned away, her shoulders shaking. Maybe love isn't enough. Her words hung between them, cold and sharp. He wanted to shout, but nothing came. Instead, he sank into the chair and covered his face. That night, he didn't come to bed. By morning, he was gone. He returned 3 days later, eyes red, voice quiet. He didn't say where he'd been. She didn't ask. Something in him had shifted, something darker and harder. He no longer prayed before meals. He stopped going to church. He stopped saying we. Chioma watched him drift away in plain sight. She tried to hold the house together, but the cracks widened. Words turned to bitterness, bitterness turned to silence. One afternoon, when the sky was low and gray, she caught her reflection in the mirror and barely recognized herself. Her hair, once neatly tied, now frayed. Her face, once full of laughter, had settled into lines of exhaustion. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered to the empty room. But even as she said it, she knew she would. Because of the child sleeping in the corner. Because of a promise. Because some loves don't die. They just ache quietly until something breaks. That night, Emeka came home late again. He looked at her, then at the sleeping boy, then at the wall. His eyes glistened, though he pretended otherwise. "We used to be happy," he murmured. She nodded. "We used to believe." He sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees. "Do you still?" She hesitated, then said, "I want to." He looked up. "Then maybe that's enough." For a moment, the air between them softened. The storm outside grew louder, and they both turned toward the window. My friends, are you enjoying this video? Please share your thoughts in the comment. Lightning flashed, revealing their faces, worn, tired, but still faintly human beneath the pain. Chioma rose and closed the window. The rain beat harder, and thunder shook the walls. Neither of them noticed that Chidera had woken up. He sat quietly in the corner, watching them. He saw two people who loved deeply, but had forgotten how to show it. He saw fear in their eyes, and something like sorrow clinging to their voices. He didn't understand everything, but he understood enough. He folded his hands and began to whisper to God, the way his mother used to before the shouting began. His voice was small, but it filled the room. Outside, thunder answered. Inside, both parents paused. And for the first time in many months, they listened, not to each other, but to something greater. The air shifted, the lamp flickered. The first hint of when darkness trembled began to breathe through the walls. We will continue in part 2. Like and subscribe if you want a part 2. Bye.